EarlyMorningMob.com. Like, comment, share, and download the Golden Debate Show. Two-Tone and Kryptonite. This is the only show where you'll find out about dolphins getting high on pufferfish.
Show no.
Puff on this.
我々には柔道、空手と合気道、世界に2億の
Looks like they're the only team that might have lost their coach and kept on to it.
Holla back.
We're going to get into these dolphins, though. We're going to get into some more stuff. Golden Debate Show. Like, comment, share, and download.
This other guy's
We're going to have a whale of a time on this.
我々には柔道、空手と合気道、世界に2億の
Ready to bang these people with that golden dimension.
Massive gatherings of violent protesters after security forces opened fire on a group of demonstrators early Friday morning, killing at least 5 people. Officials in the United Arab Emirates are beginning to warn businesses and residents in the private sector to be on the lookout for symptoms of the Middle Eastern Respiratory Syndrome, which holds a near 50% mortality rating, after reports show that cases in the region are continuing to increase. Joint research by the University of California, Irvine and Chinese scientists have proven the efficacy of an ancient Chinese herbal compound derived from the Cordalis plant. The research comes as pharmacological institutions are beginning to revert to ancient technology due to growing cases of side effects.
It's an ancient Chinese secret like the finger trap.
And shows that the remedy derived from this plant has the ability to relieve the pain suffering from severe nerve damage, depression, intestinal dysfunction, and high blood pressure. Research published through the Seismological Society of America shows that the world's next megaquake may once again come from Asia, with researchers detailing ongoing activity and a propensity for a large earthquake along the long-mentioned fault zone in China. Last show you said that a lot of viruses
using data gathered over years of study after
devastating streams of earthquakes struck the region. Researchers have found stress factors that allow earthquakes to move or piggyback from one area to another, with scientists saying that a considerable amount of their data points to the 60-kilometer-long segment of the fault that lies northeast of the Lucian rupture as the place to watch for the next major earthquake.
It's a little intellectual shit
that research gives explanation into the mysterious lights that are often seen hovering above the ground before a major earthquake. Analyzing documented instances of the lights dating back as far as the 1600s, geologists working with the Ministry of Natural Resources found continental rifts where subvertical faults more readily enable stress-induced electrical currents to flow rapidly to the surface. Researchers caution that over 80% of the lights have been associated with strong tectonic events, ranging from 5.0 to 9.2 on the Richter scale, reminding watchers to prepare accordingly if witnessed firsthand. And to wrap things up, the Department of Health in Australia is warning residents to be cautious of a measles outbreak. After years of community protest, General Mills is beginning to sell the Cheerios brand without genetically modified ingredients,
so let's
and a 5.9 in chili, followed by a significant 4.7.
Hello and welcome to the first 90-second science of 2014. Tomorrow's future, today. And first up, what better way to usher in the new year than with a dire global warming prediction? New research headed by the University of New South Wales suggests global temperatures could increase by at least 4 degrees by 2100 if CO2 emissions aren't reduced, with potentially catastrophic effects. The reasons? Well, we've actually been having it up wrong all along. Apparently, old climate models assume that all clouds formed in a certain way, which the researchers believe is actually false. The result? Much less cloud cover and so much more global warming. Next up, and it seems we humans aren't the only ones who might enjoy a little chemical entertainment. A BBC documentary has caught dolphins getting high by chewing pufferfish. The mammals carefully agitate the poor fish so it releases an unlethal level of neurotoxin before passing the puffy to the left-hand side and giving their mates a go, before falling into a trance-like state. And finally, flying cars have existed for forever, but they've never really taken off. Bad pun. Very bad pun.
Yeah, it's a delicacy.
Undeterred though, here is the latest incarnation
on dolphins, and they found out that dolphins like to get high, just like people in the United States and much of the world. Now, what they discovered while filming for this documentary, and they did 900 hours of dolphin footage, by the way, they found out that dolphins like to chew on pufferfish to get high, and they chew on it just the right amount, and then they pass it on to other dolphins so they can get high as well. Now, as you guys know, pufferfish have a toxin that can be lethal if you consume too much of it. So somehow the dolphins managed to find the right amount to feel good, and then they pass it on to their dolphin friends. This is incredible stuff, and it just kind of shows you how unbelievably intelligent, other mammals are. We think we're so smart as humans, but...
Everybody, I don't understand. Everybody's like reading this news and then saying, well, wow, look how smart dolphins are. Isn't that awesome? I guess they're not smart enough. Maybe they should have had a TV show.
Toxin. Those dolphins can't get it. They look a little high in that picture. little half smile.
So dolphins are mammals, correct?
Yep. Yes.
Oh, there you go. So that's a difference. Puffers, they're just a stupid fish.
Yeah.
These are, we're related to dolphins, right?
Well, we're related to pufferfish too, but more related to dolphins. Exactly.
We're related to pufferfish like we're related to the dynasty people.
Exactly.
So, first of all, who's the guy that has to go through the 900 hours of dolphin footage? He's like, oh, he's swimming now. Wonderful. Should I save that or no? Not save that. I'll get rid of that. But yeah, so if you ever want to get really freaked out, just read in depth about dolphins, about chimpanzees, about pigs.
EarlyMorningMob.com. This is Carl Calzone, Two-Tone GoldenDebateShow. Stay golden, stay classy, like, comment, share, download.
They found out the dolphins like to get high, just like people in the United States and much of the world. Just like people in the United States and much of the world. Now, what they discovered was while filming for this documentary, and they did 900 hours of dolphin footage, by the way. They found out that dolphins like to chew on pufferfish to get high, and they chew on it just the right amount, and then they pass it on to other dolphins so they can get high as well. But as you guys know, pufferfish have a toxin that can be lethal if you consume too much of it. So some of the dolphins manage to find the right amount to feel good, and then they pass it on to their dolphin friends. Incredible stuff, and just kind of shows you how unbelievably intelligent, other mammals are. We think we're so smart as humans, but
everybody, I don't understand. Everybody's like reading news and then saying, wow, look how smart dolphins are. Isn't that awesome? What about the pufferfish? What about the pufferfish? They don't chewed on the fucking dolphins. Why do they care? I guess they're not smart enough. Maybe they should have had a TV show.
Toxin. They look a little high in that picture. Little half smile.
But dolphins are mammals, correct?
Yes.
Oh, there you go.
They draw the line at all animals. But many people wouldn't argue that you shouldn't be chocolate, right?
What's that?
Why not? Or like zebra fish. Or people will, there are all these microorganisms.
What about bunnies when they put soap in their eyes?
Or bunnies. Or bunnies. I mean that sounds cool.
Is that okay?
But that's not medical research, right? You're talking about like cosmetic research or something. But medical research, sure. So for me, I draw my line in the sand right underneath these kind of higher order mammals like dolphins, elephants, and great apes. I do start to get much more squeamish when we talk about doing medical research on these kinds of organisms, and mostly it's because of this higher order systems that they have. I do caution as society to prevent ourselves from anthropomorphizing these organisms too much and saying, oh, just like people they do this, just like people they do that. I'd be interested to see as the research continues on this.
Like, comment, share, and download. Go to the debate show.
Right, so I'm not really sure how scientific. Granted, it probably has zoologists and people on board with them, but it will be interesting to see more and more, I think, research and studies.
What they did after they chew, because, okay, so they chew on the pufferfish.
Hi, this is your host, Naomi. I'd like to share some uncommon facts about dolphins. Of all marine animals, none seem to charm and fascinate people as much as dolphins, which are among the most intelligent animals on Earth. Dolphins most live in groups of pods and operate socially, even playing with each other simply for fun. Dolphins can even be friendly towards other species, and there have been numerous reports of them helping people in need. Dolphins cannot stay underwater for very long and must surface for air after 10-15 minutes. The noises, clicks, and whistles that individual dolphins make can be used to identify and distinguish them because they are unique. Dolphins most often live in groups called pods and operate socially, even playing with each other simply for fun. Dolphins can even be friendly to other species, and there have been numerous reports of them helping people in need. Dolphins, of all marine animals, none seem to charm and fascinate people as much as dolphins, which are among the most intelligent animals on Earth. Dolphins most often live in groups called pods and operate socially, even playing with each charm and facts, and often playing with each other and operate socially, even playing with each other simply for fun. Dolphins can even be friendly towards other species, and there have been numerous reports of them helping.
And it's not just the economy that's dying. We also see that fish in the Pacific Ocean are dying as well. In another study, and this is from Natural News, Dead Sea creatures are covering 98% of the ocean floor off of California coast, up from just 1% before Fukushima. A new study recently published in the journal Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences recently discovered that the number of dead sea creatures blanketing the floor of the Pacific is higher than it has been in the 24 years that they've been monitoring this. In March 2012, less than 1% of the seafloor beneath Station M, they say, was covered in Dead Sea salts. And more than 80% of it is covered in decomposing organisms. Now, other ocean research stations are reporting the same data. And of course, the location and the timing of this massive die-off in the ocean, die-off in the ocean, points the finger at Fukushima as we see this massive amount of radiation that continues to pour into the ocean and is making its way slowly to the west coast of the United States.
Down in one of those catacombs.
Now you can watch the InfoWars Nightly News is covered in Dead Sea cell in decomposition M. They said that the sea stations are 80% of the seafloor beneath Station M of dead sea creatures blanketing the floor. Been monitoring this.
Hey, Bill Nye the Science Guy here. Now, you know, when I was in school, I used a slide rule. No kidding, this was a calculating device that didn't add or subtract. And we wanted information, we had to go to the library, we had to look things up on little cards, we had to find books, we had to open them, we had to study the books. But now, you, in the information age, information from all around the world, even from outer space, is available to you at your fingertips. It has changed the world. What you have now is the ability to learn things so much more quickly than I could when I was in school. But look, I came out fine. I'm kidding. No. So here's the thing. If you think that you can make a cool video about how you learn science, technology, engineering, and math using the technology that's at your fingertips, then the President of the United States wants to hear from you. The White House is accepting submissions for the first ever White House Student Film Festival. This is for kids like you between kindergarten and 12th grade. You can get all the information you need online at whitehouse.gov/filmfest, and the films can be short. In fact, they have to be short. They can't be any longer than 3 minutes.
I don't know if you got younger generation
featured on the White House website and shared around the world.
Look up Mr.
on White House sites and tweets and status updates and Instagrams, all of the wonderful social media stuff that we know and love. So, if you do this, you have a chance. You might attend the film festival yourself at the White House. So the submissions are open. Submit. You'll need a parent, a teacher, or a guardian to help you get all the information correct. and go to wh.gov/filmfest to load your video. I mean, get the lights up, get the camera, but first, get a nice script, a good idea, then convey it to us. Show us your passion for science, technology, engineering, and math. So that you might.
Do you know that every year between 50 and 200 Rhode Islanders die because of the flu alone? And this year it's the H1N1 virus, that nasty swine flu from back in 2009, that's wreaking havoc and making everyone sick across the country. But with nearby Massachusetts and New York already considered widespread flu outbreak numbers, some Rhode Island health officials say we're next.
Well, the one thing we know is that flu is in fact on its way here. It's coming from the south, the west, and the north.
Rhode Island Department of Health Director Dr. Michael Fine says flu cases in nearby Massachusetts are now considered widespread, and physician visits for flu-like symptoms here in Rhode Island are way up. And Dr. Fine says that means it's time to stop procrastinating and get a flu shot, especially if you're a young adult.
In a typical year, worry about the elderly and infants. This year, around the country, we're seeing hospitalizations and even deaths in young adults. So, regardless of who you are, it's a good year to be immunized.
And for those of you who are dead set against being immunized, Dr. Fine would like to paint a picture of what the flu is really like.
For most of us, it's a fever of 100, 203, being knocked flat on your back. It makes you ache so much that your hair hurts, and for many people it's being out of work for 1 to 2 weeks at least.
God bless Phil Robertson, man who stands on God's love. Stand beside him with the light and guide him
now,
with the truth that comes from above.
You're trying to make the whole world
he
more golden.
Speaks truth
this
to
go ham on
America.
I don't even think it's right.
Phil Robertson.
Reverend Manny, what up?
Now he's totally agreeing with Phil Robinson on just that point.
Bless
but we
Phil
are finding out a lot
Robinson
about Phil Robinson.
as
that he believes in marrying young girls
satanic
and
gay devil.
Shit.
In the eye,
I don't know.
with the question
so much, man. No one got
for the universe,
yep.
Is it the vagina
Stay digging for
or the anus? Phil Robinson, a man for the ages. Thank you, Phil Robinson. And by the way, this matter of promoting this debauchery, it's just gotten too far out of hand. The long-legged Mac Daddy, the son of Satan, has sent America down a course that's going to send everybody to hell. I mean, this business of everywhere you turn now, there is this bullying, and gay people are bullies. I mean, they are bullying you, daring you not to say anything about their perverted, if you will, lascivious lifestyle. And they're making people cow down. But Phil Robinson has stepped forward with a lot to lose.
What's it all about, though?
Were he a greedy,
fundamentally,
if you will,
it's about control,
secular,
baby. And that is what we're going to get into. It's not just about control of machines. What happened with Rafal is about control of people. And fundamentally, when we talk about things like internet freedom, and we talk about tactical surveillance and strategic surveillance, we're talking about control of people through the machinery that they use. And this is a really, I think, a really kind of, I'm trying to make you laugh a little bit, because what I'm going to show you today is wrist-slitting depressing. Basically, the NSA, they want to be able to spy on you, and if they have 10 different options for spying on you that you know about, they have 13 ways of doing it, and they do all 13. So that's a pretty scary thing, and basically their goal is to have total surveillance of everything that they're interested in. So there really is no boundary to what they want to do. There is only sometimes a boundary of what they are funded to be able to do, and the amount of things they're able to do at scale. They seem to just do those things without thinking too much about it, and there are specific tactical things where they have to target a group or an individual, and those things seem limited either by budget or simply by their time. And as we have released today on Der Spiegel's website, which it should be live, I just checked, it should be live for everyone here, we actually show a whole bunch of details about their budgets as well as the individuals involved with the NSA and the Tailored Access Operations Group in terms of numbers. So it should give you a rough idea showing that there was a small period of time in which the internet was really free and we did not have people from the US military that were watching over it and exploiting everyone on it. And now we see every year that the number of people who are hired to break into people's computers as part of grand operations, those people are growing day by day. We also redacted the names every year. There are more and more people that are allocated, and we see this because we think that there's a balance. Unfortunately, there is a serious problem, which is that the U.S. government asserts that you don't have standing to prove that you've been surveilled unless we release that kind of information. But we don't want to release that kind of information in case it could be a legitimate target, and I'm really uncomfortable with that term, but let's say that there is a legitimate target, the most legitimate target, and we didn't want to make that decision. But we did also want to make sure that we didn't harm someone, but we also wanted to show concrete examples. So if you look at the Spiegel stuff online, we redacted the names even of those who were victimized by the NSA's oppressive tactics, which I think actually goes further than is necessary, but I believe that it strikes the right balance to ensure continued publication and also to make sure that people are not harmed and that legitimate good things, however rare they may be, they are also not harmed. So if you've been targeted by the NSA and you would have found out today if we had taken a different decision, I'm really sorry. But this is the thing I think that keeps us alive. So this is the choice that I think is the right choice, and I think it's also the safest choice for everyone. Programmatically look at things that flow across the internet that they see with turmoil, and then using Turbine they're able to actually inject packets to try to do attacks. Interesting thing about QFire also is that they have a thing that's called a diode. QFire has this really neat little detail, which is that they compromise other people's routers and then redirect through them so that they can beat the speed of light. And how they do that is that they have a passive sensor that's nearby a thing that they can inject from. And when they see that that thing sees a selector that is interesting to them or is doing a thing that they would like to tamper with in some way, then they take a packet, they encapsulate the packet, they send it to the diode, which might be your home router potentially, and then that home router decapsulates that packet and sends it out. And because that is very close to you, and let's say you're visiting Yahoo, then the Yahoo packet will not beat you. That is, or they will not beat the NSA or GCHQ. So it's a race condition. And so they basically are able to control this whole system and then localize attacks in that process.
Stadiums are ready, the hotel's prime, but there's one vital ingredient needed for Sochi 2014, which is largely out of organisers' hands. But if Mother Nature can't quite manage a blanket of Olympic snow, there is a plan B, as Tabang Motse explains.
Perhaps the biggest challenge facing Sochi's organisers is making sure there's plenty of the one thing the Games can't do without: snow. The new Rosa Hutter Alpine Resort reaches up over 5,000 feet, making it one of the biggest lift-served mountains in the world. Concerns about a snowless Olympics were raised after 2 test events in Sochi had to be cancelled last February because there wasn't enough. The temperatures here rarely falls below freezing, but snow is being guaranteed, and here's how. 16 million cubic feet of snow has been stored, and Europe's biggest snow-making system is in place. Weather stations make sure the organizers know when they're going to have to act as Mother Nature themselves.
Now we have the field of play almost done, so it's more than 1 meter of tough snow right now on the slopes. So this is the main task.
There are 4 different forms of technology that are being used to ensure snow. A snow vault has been storing snow for over a year under special blankets, keeping it from defrosting. There are hundreds of snowy cannons scattered around the slopes. They use water from the mountain lakes to make artificial snow. A special kind of snow salt is also being used as glue when and if the snow melts. And finally, mountain gutters. These pipes will gather snow falling at the highest peaks, transport it down to the slopes where it will get an extra boost with artificial snow. Of course, technology is also being utilized by the competitors going for gold.
I am in charge of ski lubricants, including solid and liquid ones. We're basically trying to figure out which lubricants would provide the maximum acceleration in the Sochi snow so that later we could share our findings with the services that are supposed to prepare the equipment for Russian ski athletes at the Olympic Games.
Professional athletes use custom-made sports equipment to maximize performance and make sure it caters to their exact needs.
Thomas Drake, Daniel Ellsberg, Catherine Gunn, and Colleen Rowley wrote a beautiful open letter to all U.S. intelligence agents.
Down there, there's other guys that it looks like, I don't know. This don't make no sense for everybody.
Talk a little bit about that letter.
We're hoping that what Edward Snowden did, and he did this for the best of reasons, despite all the slander. I don't know if people know this. There's a copy of the Constitution on his desk, and he would badger his co-workers about whether what they were doing was consonant with the Fourth Amendment.
Now you know your neighborhood. Keep an eye on it. A stranger taking a shortcut through the backyard next door might have broken into your neighbor's home. Report him.
A strange car parked illegally might be loaded with stolen goods waiting to make a getaway. Report him.
That loud fight next door might be the start of a violent crime. Report him.
If you see a prowler at night, don't frighten him away by turning on a light. Report him.
Remember, by helping us apprehend a criminal, you make sure that you're not his next victim. I guess you can sum it up in 2 words. What's that? Get involved.
We hold you in our hearts, and when we think about you, it makes me wanna fart.
It's I hope we never part. Now get it right or pay the price.
Now we will share a lifetime of the fondest memories. By the lake of Anawana, sat in the old pine trees.
Camp on, hold you in our hearts. But when we think the thing came apart.
Think I wanna speak, I wanna live,
Truman lied from 1950 on the nature and purposes of the French involvement in colonial reconquest of Vietnam that we were financing and encouraging.
I don't know.
Eisenhower lied about the reasons for the nature of our involvement
because of the crisis which is even now developing, this radio station will remain on the air day and night. This station and hundreds of other radio and TV stations throughout this part of the country are pooling their resources to emergency network hookups to keep you informed of all
combat involvement and about the recommendations that were being made to President Kennedy lied about the degree of our participation in the overthrow of Diem. Johnson, of course, lied about our provocations against the North Vietnamese prior to and after the Tonkin Gulf incident, about the plans for bombing North Vietnam and the nature of the buildup of American troops in Vietnam. Nixon, as we now know, misled and lied to the American public for the first months of his office in terms of our bombing of Cambodia and Laos, ground operations in Laos. The reasons for our invasion of Cambodia and of Laos and the prospects for the mining of Haiphong finally came about in 1972, but was envisioned as early as 1969. The American public was lied to month by month by each of these 5 administrations. As I say, it's a tribute to the American public.
Whatever you are, you do, how can I help? Your heart's been touched, but you feel helpless or think, what can one person do? This is what we do. We make homeless care backpacks, and we do it for $20 or less per backpack.
Whatever it is.
I shopped at thrift stores for used backpacks that cost $1 to $3. The article said they shouldn't be too nice or they might get stolen. It Doesn't matter if there's any design on it, as long as it's sturdy and it closes well. At the thrift store, I also look for beanies and warm scarves. Beanies usually cost about $1, and warm scarves can be $1 to $2. If you can find mittens or gloves,